Dear friends and people of the earth, I'm here with you to share a new discovery, the Enneagram of Life. And in it, what it describes is the different areas of life that constitute life. And through it, you will be able to learn more about yourself. And as a tool, this can help us in developing more wholeness and completeness in our lives through the art of living balanced. Our tendency as human beings is to overemphasize certain areas and underemphasize other areas. And by doing that, we're actually severely limiting our potential. So this is useful for anybody who wants to live a more harmonious life, who wants to live a life that feels whole, and achieve a deeper sense of fulfillment. So this symbol, the Enneagram, is an ancient symbol that describes the laws of reality within it. And in this case, what we're looking at is the areas of life. As I go through the different areas, I will go through them briefly, not too in depth. I encourage you to feel into yourself and feel into where you feel yourself to be in each area, in the context of whether you feel fulfilled, unfulfilled, limited, empowered, inadequate, whole, balanced, or imbalanced. That will give you very useful information about your own life. And that information can serve you in actually becoming more balanced. It is crucial that we become aware of where we are. And through that awareness and through the understanding of where we are, we can actually move into a greater level of balance. And through that, move towards a sense of completeness. That's a long journey. That's a journey of a lifetime. That's a journey of years and of months and of days. But to be oriented in that way, in of itself, is a great blessing. It's a great premise for the future. As you tune into yourself while I speak, by sensing yourself and feeling into yourself, I encourage you to be kind to yourself, to be compassionate to yourself. We all come and grow up with an inner critic that can be very negative, that can be very judgmental. I encourage you not to listen to that voice and rather simply be with the truth of your experience and allow yourself to be in a space of exploration, curiosity, more so than criticism. So that's the preface before I actually share it with you. Now, you may have been studying it already. As you can see, there are 9 points on this symbol. And I could start anywhere, but I'll start with vocation. And vocation has to do with our profession. It has to do with our work in the world. And it will usually be the area where we actually get an income to feed, that can help us in actually getting fed. And it's our work and the way we serve in the world. Some of us feel that we are in just the right place when it comes to vocation. Others may be longing for a completely different profession. Where do you find yourself? Okay. Next point is point 2, which is partner. And that has to do with our romantic and intimate relationships. Most of us will have some experience within that area. And some of us are in a relationship, others just came out of it. And some of us are longing for it, and some of us are in it and still longing for it. So this is a very rich territory, and it's a part of our lives. It's a very major part of our lives. So the uniqueness about this is it's to be specific, it's about our relationship to one intimate other. I'm not going to go into polyamory, although I'm aware that that's something that's a thing. I don't have a lot of experience with that by myself personally. So I'm going to focus on intimate relationships. So the core, that the partner, our companion in life, which is often sexual and in some cases not. But it's that intimate other where we share our deepest beloved intimacy with. So intimacy is really key to that point too. And even though we don't have a partner, does not mean we're inadequate or imbalanced. It simply means that it's not applicable for the time being. We can be whole human beings without being in a partnership. That's important to know. It's not essential in that sense. Next point is point 3, and that is about health. So when I speak of health, I mean it in a broad sense of including our mental health, our emotional health, and our physical health. And to live a life that is healthy, which we all know follow certain laws. If we're physically active and exercise, that's a good thing for our body, especially when we know what we're doing, or doing it in a way that is, you could say, technically correct. If it's untechnical, it can lead to injuries and it can be detrimental to our health. So to be sincere in how we apply ourselves also in the area of health is important. Another thing that's associated with this area is nutrition. What are we eating? What are we feeding our bodies? And what are we feeding our minds? Because our mind and body is linked. Another point is that of breath. How are we breathing? Are we breathing with our belly? Is our breathing shallow? How is our energy flow when it comes to breath and life force, vitality? Also here we have psychological work, trauma work, therapeutic work, which helps both our nervous system to relax, but also loosens up our psychology, makes our psychology more pliable, more supple, and more free, more fluid, you could say, more open and healthier. So therapeutic work is really useful in supporting our mental health. And that will serve our thoughts in a positive way, and that again connects to our emotions. To have a good emotional hygiene. And that's a lot of deep work in actually addressing that, to face our anger and to work with our jealousy and envy, to actually work on our hatred and all these different emotions that we have. That of fear is a big one, anxiety, and so forth. So point 3, health, is related to those areas. There's obviously more I can say about that, but I'm going to leave it there. Next point is leisure. And at this point, I'm going to bring in that each point has a positive and a negative pole. In leisure, this becomes very significant because leisure includes both the positive pole of, or the pole of activity, which is creative activities, poetry, dancing, singing, hobbies, sport, recreation. But what is very significant about leisure is that you're doing it for the sake of it. You're not doing it for a specific outcome as such. It's more doing it for its own, doing the activity for its own sake. And in that, there is actually a sense of freedom and often a sense of enjoyment. And also, it has a lot to do with expressing who we are. Expressing who we are without roles, without being defined, and to actually be stimulated in that area has a lot to do with our happiness, logically. Because to be ourselves without roles, there's something very significant about that when it comes to human life. And the other pole is that of consumption, including entertainment, going on holiday, which is more related to that of relaxation, to be relaxed without engaging in anything. Right? As I continue speaking, just feel into yourself. Just get a sense of yourself. No need to be serious, but just get a sense where you find yourself. Next point, a big point, like they all are, finances. Where are we in relationship to finances? Income, expenses, saving, investments. How do we manage our money? And how clear and objective and aware are we within the realm of finances? In our modern world, we don't come very far without it, without money. That's just how it's set up these days. And to what degree we feel literate and educated will often make a big difference to whether we feel abundant in that area or not. And there's a lot we can learn about that. Next point, point 6, is that of family. And our family is the people life chooses for us. Our father, our mother, our siblings, our stepbrothers, stepmother, and so on and so forth. And it can also be our in-laws, right? And it also includes our children. So this is a major area and really foundational, because when we come into life, family is something we come into from the beginning. It's with us all our life, and it's something we come into. And how do we feel within the context of our family? Are we showing up? Are we in a place where we can actually support our family? Right? How do we relate to the question of loyalty in relationship to our family? Important questions, important things to consider. Next point is point 7, which has to do with community, communion, friendship, kinship, the people that we choose to have in our lives. And that point also has a lot to do with generosity, the generosity of our time, of our resources, of sharing our thoughts and inner space, our homes, and so on and so forth. And there's also, you could say, a concentric circles within the point 7 of social, where you have your core friends, you have friends who are more central, and you have peripheral friends. And to become really clear about who is where is very useful in managing, you could say, expectations in relationship, and also to be energetically hygienic and healthy in terms of our relationships. Because if we're not, it will usually create drains or lead to feeling a sense of being drained, overwhelmed, and overburdened, actually. So that's an important point, like they all are. Point 8 is household. And household has to do with taking care of where we live, including our car, our garden. This is a major area of life. I mean, every day we do dishes, we cook food, we clean, and we live in our home, right? So to function well in our householding, that's an intelligence. DIY, for example, do it yourself. Some people are just so good at that, which is a great skill to have, and it's related to point 8, householding. And our household can have many different forms. It can be the front, living in a group home or friends. It can be a nuclear family. It can be living with a sibling, right? So there's a myriad of possibilities. But our home, our house, and that's also an area where the question of authority comes in. Because if it's your place, for example, it's your room, that's your authority. That's the place that's yours. So authority is really relevant here, and it's something to be explored further. And then we move to point 9, the essence of life, spirituality, spirit, our essence, our being, who we are, what we are fundamentally, right? A question of exploring our nature, the question of what am I, who am I, and the knowing of our being, which is a whole universe itself to be explored, to be discovered. And there are great possibilities for realizations beyond what we already know. Yeah, I feel really excited about sharing this with you. It's a really powerful tool. It's a super powerful tool. And if you really take it in, if you work with it, I mean, I feel personally you're bound to evolve and develop and expand. Not to say that it's for everybody, but for the people who resonate with it, take it home. Take it home, work it, and this spring, 2025, and into the future, me and a friend is giving a course on this material, and you're very welcome to tune in if you feel like it. Go to enneagramoflife.com for the course. Check out our Facebook page and Instagram page, Enneagram of Life, and follow this space. More information, more to be continued. My name is Wazi, sending you lots of love, deep bow. May we all prosper.